Hello.
Welcome to Matters of DeCorum. I'm Scott Corum. This is what matters to me. I woke up and grabbed this before I grabbed my caffeine. Those mornings happen. Uh, Paladin game. Uh, the Wednesday night group has their game where everyone's playing Paladins, and they've been really good about enduring some non-Paladin activities. Uh, and it's kind of the premise of the campaign, but they've been really good with it, and it's time to give them some Paladin stuff to do. Uh, but that's not that there's not going to be some gray areas in there because I am the person running this. I want to make a monster. Okay, not a monster, not even necessarily opposition. I want to introduce another element to the game world. Something necromancy is not in D&D and in fantasy games in general. The undead are a product of evil or negative energy. Necromancy is considered a dark art. Uh, I haven't always had that personal view, especially coming from GURPS Third Edition, GURPS Fantasy Third Edition, and editions past that. The magic system is structured such that if you're going to be a good necromancer, you need to know quite a bit of healing spells. And if you're going to be a good healer, you need to know a little necromancy. The two arts dance so that if you've got a necromancer, they can pass himself off as a fairly competent healer, and that actually was a very interesting character to play. But more recently, a friend of mine from the Layer Action, Candace, introduced me to a little bit more inclusive view of the undead, undeath itself, and those who operate with it. Not just in the face of the character that she played in a game that I ran, but in the culture that that character comes from, that I've just kind of obsessed over because it's really fun. It has a real Halloweeny vibe to it that kind of fits, wherein undeath is just a part of the existence and they work with it in a fairly compassionate and understanding manner. So let's take something from here, the Wight. I like the Wight as a villainous monster or just some good old-fashioned hard opposition. Wight is someone who, at the last moments of their life, needed to kill some more and cried out to dark forces, evil gods, to give them the ability to kill past their death. And so the god looked upon them with some favor and decides they could be good for some more mayhem and turns them into a Wight so that they can steal life essence to power their undeath and commit more murder and mayhem. Concept of jobs unfinished, ghosts, revenants, the Wight. I like that. Let's play with it, though. Let's strip out the darkness, strip out the evil. Medium undead, evil, neutral evil. Let's work unfinished. That can be murder, obviously, but what if it's something a little bit more creative? What if we focus on creativity deferred? I have a personal knowledge of what it feels like to know that you might be ending pretty soon and you still got stories to tell or things to make or stuff to do. There is a font of creativity and desire to make stuff, and it's just going to end. What if that is powering one of our undead? Let's create the Guild Wight. Guild Wight is someone who has a position in the guild, apprentice, journeyman, or master, they've got something coming up, they're not going to survive. They're suffering a disease, or they've been injured, or something. Magic's not going to get there. Either a healer can't get there fast enough, or it's just not going to work. It's their time, and they're crushed because they can't finish something that needs to get done. Someone's not going to be able getting something that they were promised, or maybe that apprentice is sending coin back home to keep people fed, and their creativity is not going to feed their family anymore. There are gods of darkness and evil who want to see a white risen as a engine of destruction across the wasteland. There are creative gods or forge gods or gods of home and hearth who would look upon someone who has that font of creativity. Yeah, they could come to the god's home now. You've worshipped me, and now you come and create in the heavenly workshops and be more creative than you ever could be on the prime material plane. But maybe it's not time. It's time for them to leave. The threads of fate have been measured twice and cut, and it's time for them to reach their end. But maybe it's just once. Maybe in this case, maybe that God needs that person to stay and do some more work past what has to be their death. Guild White. Now they are a Guild White. They are powered by their creativity. Maybe a Necromancer can do this. Wouldn't say it would make it take a specific spell, but if you can raise dead and cast it at a higher spell slot, like say cast it at 2 spell slots plus, you could raise an Apprentice at 3 spell slots plus. Raise a Journeyman at 4. If you can cast that at a higher level spell, 7th or 8th level spell, raise a Master. Raise a Master Guild White. What does a Guild White do? What's a Guild White? Why is it out of these powers? Well, let's strip down the White. Instead of the stats given for a White, we'll give it a stats of what we assign to an average guildsman, depending on what tool proficiency they would need to have. We give them the tool proficiencies and stats to back them up. White's got multi-attack, and it's no reason to take that away from the Guild White. It's not going to be using it as much, one would think. Take away the longsword and the bow, unless the guild would give them that as a regular part of their duties. Then the life stealing. Let's take that away. 3 levels of Guild White, 3 levels of ability. Apprentices are the life's blood of a shop, of a guild hall. They get they're not only learning the stuff, but they do everything the journeymen don't want to do. They sweep the shop and clean the poop and do all the stuff, haul materials for being done, and do all the tedious sorting. They're the folks who get all the little busy work done because they're learning, and that's what they can do at the moment. And this is how they're studying at the feet of the more experienced guildsmen who are putting together, who are doing the work of the shop. So you need the apprentices. What can an apprentice Guild White do outside of what they could do normally, but tirelessly? They're immune to exhaustion, resistant to necrotic damage, and resistant to damage from non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing weapons. That seems fairly common. They don't sleep. Immune to the condition of exhaustion. Do not need rest. They absolutely will not stop until the entire shop has been swept twice. On top of that, on top of what they get for being undead, they don't eat. You don't need to feed them. You don't need to give them fluids. They just keep working on their font of creativity. They might not even have that undead appearance because they're powered by creativity. They might look almost more normal or off because the parts of them that needed to be there for life outside of the guild hall have passed on. That's gone. That extracurricular personality no longer exists, and now they're just the guild's people. And that suits them for their creative purpose. So that apprentice is giving advantage to everyone in the shop. They're so tirelessly helpful in the shop that if you've got an apprentice Guild White in your guild hall, everyone in the shop's got advantage. The whole shop's going to work a little bit better because you've got someone in there giving advantage to the entire shop. So that's going to be some folks benefiting from that tireless worker in the corner that you don't think about too much, but who is always there. They either go through 25 years of that existence, or or training, or someone is already a journeyman when they are raised. Journeymen are the backbone of a shop. They get all the actual crafting made, all the work done. They handle all the transactions. They usually are the folks who are dealing with you're dealing with them as a merchant if you're buying straight from the guild. They handle all the administration. They and teach the apprentices. The apprentices need the journeyman there to teach them. So you get a guild white journeyman. Well, you give them a stat bump as though they were 4 levels higher than the apprentice. So +2 to any one stat or +1 to 2 stats. Probably something that's going to help them with their crafting. And on top of that advantage, everyone, the shop is a +1 shop. So now everyone gets advantage and +1 to your crafting. So stuff coming out of the shop is going to be amazing. And because you've also got to cover that administrative aspect of the journeyman, the shop gets its materials at half cost. They spend half of what you normally spend on materials for doing their craft. Half price wheat for the Brewers Guild, half price cotton for the Textiles Guild, half price iron for the blacksmiths. They stretch the materials and make them work better. Just a magical aspect of their font of creativity from which they're drawing. Got to be a journeyman for 100 years. If you're going to be a guild white journeyman's got to operate for 100 years. They're not learning as fast as a regular journeyman could. They're not operating with the fullness of their intellect, but they're doing what they love to do, so that sustains them. But they manage it for 100 years and have some ability to move up that chain. Or you have a guild master that you're raised to a guild white. Master guild white. What's the master doing? Well, the master is the person who has not only perfected that craft, but has taken it places no one else has ever taken it, doing new stuff, innovative stuff. Their stuff is magical. So shop gets their advantage from having a master guild white in it. +2 shop now, because that's going to be someone in there constantly adjusting everything to make sure the fire is the perfect temperature, the materials are laid out exactly the way they need to be, the tools are all sharpened and laid out exactly right, making sure people know what perfection looks like. And then they expand past that. Materials are half cost, and everything that place makes is magical now. And that's going to be esoteric for a number of things. Magical beer. Well, the Brewers Guild makes magical beer. Well, what was that? That means that there's that one place you go to get that beer, and it is that special beer. I would, I could get a beer there for a couple of coppers, but I will pay my silver to get my beer over there. I will crawl on my knees across broken glass to get the beer from that place over there. That place of beer is cold and it's wet, and it will take care of me. That'd be fine. Over there, that beer is like, it's cold. It fills you up and it clears you out, and it feels like you're drinking a bowl of bread you could eat for a night, just drinking that big stein of that beer. You're going to remember it the next day. It's so good. Magical beer. Magical. You go get the doublet from that place. It's got a that textiles guild that has a master mage white, guild white. Gotta keep that straight. Master guild white. They didn't have to go that hard on the stitching, and the embroidery is just over the top, and the fabric itself just catches light from fire one way and catches the light from the sun another way entirely. And yeah, look at someone wearing that, and you can tell they care about how they dress, and it's got to be perfect, and they are dedicated to style and fashion. Magical. Of course, magical weapons, they might not have that +1, but they are all subject to that immune to resistant to damage from non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, slashing weapons. Well, these are magical, so they ignore that resistance. If that guild makes magic weapons, they're going to be legendary, because that Master Guild White is a font of the creativity and a master of the place and can enhance the magic just by being there. We give the master something more, in fact. We give them layer actions. Because that guild is the layer of the Master Guild White. 3 actions. Action number 1. I had these down for a cold minute there. First of the 3 Master Guild White actions. They can immediately fill the warehouses. It's a refill, 5 or 6, but they've emptied out all the warehouses. They have no more raw materials. They can't craft anymore because they have used all the materials. The master can, with a moment of creative effort, make the warehouses be full of materials, not just half-price materials, can just manifest the materials out of the raw creative energy of the universe. We're not done until I say we're done. Keep working. The crafting is not finished yet. So that works as a layer action too. They can just master the shop. The forges need to be lit. An effort. The eyes glow. The forge lights. Is there any fuel in that? You don't know, but that forge is light and ready to go. The barrels go to where they need to go. It's like there's the Wizard's Apprentice from Fantasia. Everything can go to where it needs to go. The fires can come up. The lanterns can be lit. The shop works at the bidding of the Master Guild White. 3. They can cause a feast of food and wine to appear on the tables of the guild hall. You have worked hard. Now eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we craft again. They can fuel the shop with its materials. They can master the shop with their control over its every aspect. They can reward and feed the guild because they are the guild's creative head. Yeah, I like that. The Guild White. Not necessarily evil. I guess it depends on why they are crafting or why they sought whatever deal it is that got them their undeath. Are they doing this because they just love to craft so much that they could not bear the thought of not doing it anymore? Well, neutral. It's a little bit selfish, but it's not at someone's expense. They're actually really helpful, so that'd be neutral. Or they need people need what they make, and they couldn't leave while people still had that need, or the people are living off of what they make working for the guild, so they have to be around so that their people can. Yeah, that's good. That's a good undead. Again, not necessarily appearing as undead, maybe a little dry, a little desiccated, a little preserved, but not your typical zombie. They're not falling apart. That'd be terrible for the guild, wouldn't it? Someone would have to sweep that up. So a paladin encounters a guild hall operated by one or more guild whites. What do they do? How do they handle that? It depends on the paladin. If they've got a dedicated oath toward defeating the undead, maybe they need to observe that and realize that there's a wider variety of things out there. The folks in the Wednesday night group have been pretty good about this, actually. That they haven't been, putting the paladin foot down quite as much as maybe they should. But here's a thing where they get to analyze their approach and see how they want to handle things. That's that's what I like. I want the conversation. I want to see what people think about this. If you're a member of the Warriors of Wednesday, don't worry about any spoilers for this. This can be lore. Not that any of you can make the history roll, but this is lore in the background. This stuff is known about. Maybe a practice you folks haven't encountered so much as yet, but we'll get to this. I'm going to write this up. I've got a number of things. I need to write the mage right and the guild white and the treatise on why your names need to be widely different from each other. And that's going to show up at some point in the future. I will absolutely let you folks know, probably coming from a different source than you're used to. But we'll get to that as well. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you did enjoy the video, give me a thumbs down. Feedback is feedback. What do you think of the Guild White? Would you include them in your campaign? How would you handle them? Or would you put them together differently? Questions you'd like to hear me answer, subjects you'd like to hear me cover, leave me a comment down below. I will love getting your comment. You'll love leaving me one. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, why not? My channel is awesome. You go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you do, you might want to hit the notification bell as well, so you're alerted when my videos become available. If you would like to contribute to the channel in a more substantial manner, I invite you to hit me up my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/ScottCorum. Consider donating. Absolutely anything helps, allows me to make better videos more often. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'm Scott Corum. This is what is matter to me. I'll see you next time in the next Matters of DeCorum.